There is a power within you that shapes the course of your life. It is not bound by time, nor is it hindered by circumstance. It responds only to your assumption, your inner conviction that what you seek is already yours. The great secret is this: you do not receive what you merely desire, you receive what you assume to be true. Every moment you are projecting a reality through your state of being. If you long for abundance but persist in the feeling of lack, you will continue to see lack reflected back at you. But if you dare to assume that something magnificent is unfolding, if you walk and speak and breathe as one who already possesses the gift, then the unseen forces of creation must bow to your assumption. The universe has no choice but to rearrange itself in accordance with the reality you hold firm within. Imagine now that the grandest blessing of your life is already on its way. How would you feel if you knew, without a shadow of doubt, that everything you have asked for is about to materialize? Would you walk with confidence? Would your heart be light, free of worry? Would you give thanks in advance, knowing that it is already done? This is the key. You must embody the wish fulfilled before the evidence appears. The world will call it delusion, but they do not know the law. The outer world is merely a shadow of the inner. And when the inner shifts, the outer must follow. To those who understand, faith is not blind, it is the ability to see beyond the unseen reality taking shape. Dare to act as if the universe is conspiring in your favor. Assume the posture of one who already possesses the thing sought. Let your actions, your words, your thoughts, and your emotions align with the fulfilled state. When you wake in the morning, let your first thought be one of joyful expectation. When you move through the day, let every step be guided by the certainty that something extraordinary is unfolding for you. There is no power outside of you determining your fate. You are the operant force, the one who calls things into being through the unseen medium of assumption. The grandest manifestations are not born from effort or struggle, but from the quiet, unwavering knowing that what you have declared within is already done. The universe is simply responding to the command you have set forth. Remain in that knowing. Live from that state. Let the feeling of anticipation flood your being, and soon the world will catch up to what you have already claimed as yours. Everything in your life is a reflection of what you assume to be true. The world around you is not separate from your mind. It is the direct outpicturing of your deeply held beliefs and assumptions. Many people believe that they are at the mercy of circumstances, that life happens to them, that fate is something outside of themselves, dictating what they can or cannot have. But the truth is that life is responding to you, to the state of consciousness you occupy, to the assumptions you hold as fact. If you assume yourself to be unlucky, unworthy, or incapable, your world will mirror that assumption. If you assume that you are blessed, favored, and abundant, then reality will shift to reflect that state of mind. There is no exception to this law. The outer world is nothing more than a reflection of the inner. If you want to change what you experience, you must first change what you assume to be true about yourself, about others, and about life itself. Assumptions, whether conscious or unconscious, are the blueprint of your reality. They dictate what opportunities present themselves, what people come into your life, and what experiences unfold before you. The desire alone is not enough to create change. A person may desire wealth, love, or success, but if their deepest assumption is that they are lacking, that they are undeserving, or that things never work out for them, they will continue to see that assumption play out in their life. The universe does not give you what you merely wish for. It gives you what you believe yourself to already be. The key is to embody the state of fulfillment before any physical evidence appears. The process of receiving what you desire begins with shifting your inner state. You must no longer see yourself as separate from the thing you want. Instead, you must assume that it is already yours. When you assume that something belongs to you, you naturally carry yourself differently. You no longer worry about whether it will come. You know it is already done. This is the secret behind effortless manifestation. Struggle comes when you believe you are separate from what you want, when you feel like you must chase, fight, or prove yourself worthy. But when you assume something is yours, the struggle dissolves, and the external world begins to shape itself in accordance with your assumption. This law operates in all areas of life, from relationships to finances, from health to opportunities. If someone assumes that love is difficult, that they are always being abandoned or overlooked, they will unknowingly create circumstances that confirm that belief. Even if they enter a new relationship, their underlying assumption will lead to behaviors, reactions, and experiences that bring about the same outcome. On the other hand, if they assume that they are deeply loved, cherished, and valued, their relationships will shift to reflect that belief. The same applies to wealth. A person who assumes themselves to be in a constant state of financial struggle will always find themselves in situations that reinforce that assumption. Even if they come into a large sum of money, they will unconsciously make decisions that lead them back to scarcity because their inner state has not changed. But someone who assumes wealth as their natural state will see abundance flowing to them effortlessly, regardless of their starting point. They do not need to chase money, they simply embody the consciousness of wealth. And opportunities present themselves in alignment with that assumption. Many people believe they must wait for external circumstances to change before they can change their inner state. They wait for more money before feeling abundant, wait for love before feeling worthy, wait for success before feeling confident. But this is completely backward. You must first assume the feeling of already having what you want, and then the outer world will follow. The shift must happen within you first. The key to this transformation is persistence. The world you see today is simply a reflection of past assumptions. If you want to create a new reality, you must persist in the new assumption long enough for it to take form. Many people give up too quickly, allowing doubt to creep in, returning to their old patterns of thinking. They look to the external world for validation, and when they do not see immediate results, they assume nothing is changing. But reality is fluid. Just because something is not visible yet does not mean it is not already in motion. The moment you shift your assumption, reality begins rearranging itself to align with that new state. One of the most powerful ways to shift your assumption is through imagination. The mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. If you can fully immerse yourself in the feeling of already having what you want, your subconscious will accept it as fact, and the world will mold itself accordingly. Close your eyes and see yourself living the life you desire. Feel the emotions as if it were happening now. Walk through your day carrying the energy of someone who already possesses the thing they once longed for. Make this your new normal. Another important aspect of assumption is speech. The words you speak reveal what you truly believe. If you constantly say, "I never get what I want, life is unfair, or things never work out for me," then you're reinforcing an assumption of lack and limitation. But if you begin to affirm, "Everything is always working out for me, I'm constantly blessed," or "Opportunities flow to me effortlessly," you are planting new seeds of assumption that will take root in your subconscious. What you repeatedly say and think becomes what you experience. Your daily actions also reveal your assumptions. If you truly believe that something is yours, your behavior will reflect it. Someone who assumes success does not hesitate when opportunities arise. They act with confidence and certainty. Someone who assumes wealth does not stress over minor expenses. They carry themselves with ease, knowing that abundance is their birthright. When you shift your assumption, your actions naturally align with that new belief, and the external world responds accordingly. There is no need to force or manipulate circumstances. The world is a mirror reflecting back to you the state you occupy. Instead of trying to change the reflection, change the source, your inner world. Assume the best and the best will come. Assume that something magnificent is unfolding for you, and soon you will see evidence of it all around you. Doubt and fear may try to pull you back into your old patterns. But remember, assumption is not about wishful thinking. It is about conviction. When you assume something as an unshakable truth, nothing can dissuade you. Even in moments when reality seems to contradict your assumption, hold firm. Reality must conform. It always does. The most beautiful part of this law is that it places you in full control. You do not need permission from anyone. You do not need to wait for circumstances to be perfect. You have the power right now to assume the life you desire and watch as the world reshapes itself to fit your belief. The secret to bringing anything into your life is to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must no longer see your desire as something separate from you, something to be attained in the future. Instead, you must occupy the state of already having it, already experiencing it, already being the person who possesses it. The moment you shift into this state, reality begins to mold itself to match your assumption. The world around you is a reflection of your inner state. And when you persist in feeling as if your wish is already fulfilled, the outer world has no choice but to conform. Many people live in a state of waiting. They wait for the right opportunity, the right person, the right circumstances before they allow themselves to feel successful, happy, or abundant. But this is the opposite of how reality truly works. You do not wait for the world to change so that you can feel different. You must first feel different within, and then the world will change in response to you. This is the great secret. Your inner state determines everything. If you want wealth, you must feel wealthy before you see physical evidence of it. If you want love, you must feel loved before the relationship manifests. If you want success, you must embody the confidence and certainty of someone who is already successful. This feeling is not a passive hope. It is a deep knowing, a certainty that what you desire is already yours. The more you immerse yourself in this feeling, the faster reality shifts to reflect it. It is easy to fall into the trap of believing that the world must first prove itself to you, that you need tangible proof before you can believe in your desire. But this is the greatest illusion. Reality is shaped by belief, not the other way around. You are not merely reacting to the world, you are creating it through the state of consciousness you occupy. The moment you decide to feel as if you already have what you want, the process of its manifestation begins. The outer world is only the echo of the inner, and when the inner shifts, the outer must follow. The key to living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is imagination. The mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. If you can close your eyes and truly feel yourself experiencing your desired reality, your subconscious mind will accept it as truth. And once it accepts it as truth, the external world will move to match it. This is the power of assumption. It is not enough to merely visualize or affirm your desire. You must step into the experience of already having it, allowing the feeling to take over your entire being. The way to do this is simple. Every day, take time to close your eyes and imagine yourself living the life you desire. If your goal is financial abundance, imagine looking at your bank account and seeing a large balance. Feel the relief, the excitement, the confidence that comes with knowing you are financially free. If your goal is love, imagine the warmth of being with the person you adore. Feel the joy of companionship, the deep connection and security of being in a loving relationship. If your goal is success, see yourself receiving recognition, achieving your dreams, feeling the satisfaction of having accomplished what you set out to do. The key is to not just see it, but to feel it as if it were happening right now. Your emotions are the bridge between imagination and reality. When you feel as if something is already yours, your subconscious mind begins working to bring it into physical form. The world rearranges itself according to your dominant feelings and assumptions. Doubt may try to creep in. Your logical mind may tell you that what you are imagining is impossible, that you do not yet have what you desire, that reality does not work this way, but you must ignore these thoughts. The logical mind is limited by past experiences and external conditions, but the imagination is limitless. The more you practice living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the more natural it becomes, and the less resistance you will feel. Another way to strengthen this practice is through speech. The words you use must align with the reality you wish to experience. If you constantly speak of lack, struggle, or failure, you are reinforcing the state of not having. But if you begin to speak as if your desire is already fulfilled, you are affirming your new reality. Instead of saying, I hope one day I will be successful, say, I am grateful that success flows to me effortlessly. Instead of saying, I wish I could be in a loving relationship, say, I am so thankful for the love that fills my life. Your words shape your experience because they reflect your inner state. Your daily actions should also align with the feeling of already having what you want. If you were already wealthy, how would you carry yourself? Would you constantly worry about money, or would you move through life with confidence and ease? If you were already in a loving relationship, how would you feel? Would you radiate joy and security, or would you dwell in loneliness and doubt? Begin acting as if your desire is already fulfilled. Walk through your day embodying the confidence, peace, and certainty of someone who already has what they desire. The most powerful aspect of this practice is that it eliminates struggle. When you are constantly waiting for something to happen, you are reinforcing the state of not having. But when you live in the feeling of already having it, you let go of resistance. You no longer feel desperate or anxious because you know it is already done. And when you no longer chase after your desire, it comes to you effortlessly. Many people believe they must work harder, struggle more, or prove themselves worthy before they can receive what they want. But this is unnecessary. Creation is finished. Everything you could ever desire already exists in infinite potential. The only thing you must do is align yourself with the state of having it. When you embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled, reality bends to reflect your assumption. You do not need to know how it will happen. The path will reveal itself. The universe moves in ways beyond human understanding, orchestrating events, people, and circumstances to bring your assumption into physical form. Your only task is to persist in the feeling, to hold firm to your assumption even when outer circumstances seem unchanged. If you can maintain your inner conviction, the world will shift in ways you never could have predicted. Doubt is the only thing that can delay your manifestation. The moment you begin questioning whether your desire is really possible, whether it will truly come to pass, you are stepping out of the state of the wish fulfilled. But if you can remain unwavering in your inner conviction, if you can continue to feel and act as if your desire is already yours, nothing can stop it from becoming reality. Faith is seeing the invisible, believing in the unseen, knowing with absolute certainty that what you assume must come to pass. The world is not separate from you, it is an extension of your inner state. Change within and the world changes with you. Assume the feeling of already having what you desire, and soon you will see it reflected in every aspect of your life. The universe is a living, responsive field that mirrors back to you exactly what you believe to be true. It does not judge, it does not withhold, it simply reflects. Every assumption you hold, every belief you nurture, every feeling you allow yourself to dwell in is creating the world around you. What you see, what you experience, and what manifests in your life is nothing more than an outpicturing of the consciousness you embody. If you wish to change your reality, you must first change the state you reside in. The only requirement is that you persist in the assumption that what you desire is already yours. There is no external force preventing you from having what you seek. The only thing standing between you and your dream is your own state of being. Most people live in reaction to the world around them, believing that circumstances dictate how they feel. But this is an illusion. The truth is that your internal state dictates what you experience in the outer world. If you feel lack, you will see lack. If you feel abundant, you will experience abundance. The world cannot help but reflect the consciousness you inhabit. The process begins with your imagination. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. The moment you create a clear and vivid image of your desire in your mind, it is already done. But the mistake many make is allowing doubt to creep in, questioning whether it is possible, wondering how it will come to pass. The how is not your concern. The universe knows ways that are beyond human understanding. All you must do is assume it is already done and live in the certainty of that assumption. To align yourself with the reality you desire, you must train your mind to think from the state of the wish fulfilled. This means you do not simply wish for something or hope that it might come to pass. You must fully embody the experience of already having it. If you desire wealth, you must no longer see yourself as someone struggling to achieve it. Instead, you must think, feel, and act as someone who already possesses financial abundance. If you desire love, you must no longer see yourself as lonely or searching. You must feel the warmth and security of already being loved and cherished. Every thought, every action, every word you speak must align with this new state. Doubt is the greatest enemy of creation. The moment you begin to question whether your manifestation is coming, you step out of the state of having it and return to the state of longing. The longer you entertain doubt, the more you reinforce the experience of not having. But if you persist, if you remain steadfast in the assumption that it is already done, reality must shift to match your inner conviction. The outer world is only an echo. It cannot help but reflect the new state you hold within. One of the most powerful ways to shift your state is through inner dialogue. The conversations you have with yourself throughout the day shape your reality. Most people are unaware of the constant chatter running through their minds. They affirm struggle, they reinforce lack, they repeat stories of limitation. You begin to rewrite your reality. Instead of dwelling on what is missing, you affirm what is already present. Instead of questioning when your desire will come, you move with the confidence of someone who already possesses it. If you catch yourself thinking thoughts of doubt or worry, immediately shift into the state of already having. Ask yourself, if I already had what I wanted, how would I feel right now? And then embody that feeling. Make it real within yourself. Live in that state as often as possible. The more you dwell in the assumption of already having, the faster it materializes in the world around you. Another key to persisting in the state of the wish fulfilled is emotional discipline. Many people allow their emotions to be dictated by external events. They see something they dislike in their reality and they react with frustration, fear, or despair. But when you react in this way, you reinforce the unwanted condition. You must remain unmoved by appearances. No matter what the outer world shows you, you must hold firm to the state of already having. This requires trust. It requires a deep knowing that what you have assumed is real, even if the world has yet to reflect it. If you were already living in your desired reality, how would you move through the world? Would you be filled with anxiety, constantly checking for evidence of its arrival? Or would you feel at peace, knowing that it is already yours? The feeling of certainty is what brings manifestations to pass. The more you relax into the assumption that it is already done, the more effortlessly it comes to you. It is not enough to affirm something once and then return to old patterns of thought. You must persist. You must remain unwavering in your assumption. Reality is malleable, but it takes time for it to reshape itself. If you plant a seed in the soil, you do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You trust that it is taking root beneath the surface. The same is true for your desires. Once you plant the seed of assumption, you must nurture it with faith and patience. There will be moments when doubt tries to creep in, when circumstances seem unchanged, when the world tempts you to revert to old beliefs. But these are the moments that test your faith. Will you return to the state of longing, or will you hold firm to the state of having? If you persist, if you refuse to waver, the world must conform. It has no choice. It is law. Your only task is to remain in the state of the wish fulfilled. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen or when it will come. That is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to hold the assumption that it is already done. To think from the state of having, to feel as if it is already yours. To move through the world with the confidence of someone who has received exactly what they desire. Nothing is impossible. The only limitations that exist are those you accept. The moment you decide that something is already yours, the universe begins to rearrange itself to bring it to you. Every event, every circumstance, every person you meet is drawn into your life in response to your state of being. Align yourself with the reality you desire, persist in the assumption that it is already done, and watch as the world shifts to match your conviction. You do not need to beg the universe. You do not need to chase after your desires. You need only to assume that they are already yours. Move through life as if everything you desire has already been given to you. Live in that feeling, persist in that assumption, and soon what was once only imagined will become your lived reality. There is a law that governs all things, a principle that underlies every manifestation in this world. What you consistently assume to be true becomes your reality. The universe does not respond to wishful thinking. It does not answer to fleeting desires or half-hearted hopes. It responds to deep-seated belief, to the state of being that you seek is already yours. The question is never whether the universe will grant you what you want, but whether you are willing to hold the assumption long enough for reality to reflect it back to you. Everything you desire exists in a state of potential. There is no shortage, no lack, no limitation except the ones you impose upon yourself through doubt and disbelief. If you were to truly believe that what you want is already on its way to you, if you were to assume with full certainty that the universe is about to give you something big, you would carry yourself differently. You would not be filled with worry or hesitation. You would not ask whether it is coming. You would know. And in that knowing, in that deep and unshakable confidence, the unseen forces of the universe would move in perfect harmony to bring your assumption into form. The problem many face is that they believe in their desires only when circumstances appear favorable. If things look promising, they feel hopeful. If they see no evidence, they become discouraged. But true creation does not work this way. If you allow the outer world to dictate your inner state, you are trapped in an endless cycle of reacting rather than creating. You must learn to reverse this process. Instead of looking to the world for confirmation, you must give confirmation to the world by holding firm to the assumption of your desire already fulfilled. There is a certain ease that comes with knowing something is already yours. Think of the way you feel about something you already possess. There is no anxiety, no questioning, no need to check every moment to see if it has arrived. You simply rest in the certainty that it is yours. This is the state you must embody. The moment you assume possession of your desire in your imagination, it exists. And if it exists in imagination, it is only a matter of time before it takes form in the physical world. Many struggle with this concept because they believe their desires are separate from them, something external that they must work hard to attain. But the truth is, everything you seek is already within you. There is no separation between you and your desires. The only thing that creates separation is the belief that you do not yet have them. The moment you shift your perspective, the moment you stop asking when and start living as if it is already done, the bridge of events leading to its manifestation is set into motion. The universe does not require your struggle. It does not need your effort in the way the world has conditioned you to believe. It only requires your assumption. When you assume something to be true, your entire being aligns with that reality. You begin to think, speak, and act in harmony with it. And as you persist in this state, the world reshapes itself to reflect your conviction. The key is to persist, to remain unwavering in your belief, regardless of what appears in the physical world. There will be moments when doubts arise, when circumstances seem unchanged, when the old reality attempts to pull you back into its grip. But these are merely tests of your faith. They are opportunities to prove to yourself that you will not be swayed by appearances. If you can remain unmoved, if you can hold the assumption even in the absence of visible proof, you will witness the inevitable unfolding of your desire into reality. It is not enough to affirm your desire once and then return to old patterns of thinking. You must dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled as often as possible. This means engaging your senses, feeling the reality of your desire with such intensity that it becomes more real to you than the physical world. The more you inhabit this state, the more natural it becomes. And once it feels natural, it must manifest. Imagine for a moment that what you desire has already arrived. How would you feel? How would you carry yourself? What thoughts would occupy your mind? What words would you speak? The universe responds not to desperation, not to longing, but to the certainty that it is already done. There is no need to force, no need to push against the current. Trust in the unseen. Trust that the moment you claimed your desire in imagination, it was set into motion. The unfolding may not always be visible, but that does not mean it is not happening. Just as a seed grows beneath the soil before it emerges into the light, your desire is taking shape in the unseen before it materializes in the seen. The only thing required of you is to remain faithful to your assumption. Many people sabotage their own manifestations by allowing fear and doubt to take hold. They check constantly for evidence, and when they do not see it, they assume it is not working. This is the greatest mistake one can make. The moment you question whether it is coming, you step out of the state of having and return to the state of wanting. And as long as you persist in wanting, you cannot receive. The key is to act as if it is already done. To move through life with the quiet confidence of one who knows. There is an effortless flow that accompanies deep faith. When you truly believe something is already yours, you no longer feel the need to chase after it. You no longer worry about when or how it will come. You move in harmony with the assumption, knowing that the universe is aligning the perfect sequence of events to bring it into your reality. And when you reach this state, when you fully embody the feeling of already having, what you desire must come to you. It is law. The question is not whether the universe will give you something big. The question is whether you will allow yourself to receive it. Will you stand in unwavering faith, or will you let doubt and fear keep you in the state of longing? Everything you desire is already waiting for you. The moment you shift your state, the moment you align yourself with the reality of already having, the floodgates open and the unseen becomes seen. You do not need to struggle, you do not need to beg. You need only assume and persist, and the universe will deliver exactly what you have claimed as yours. There is a simple yet profound truth that governs all creation. The moment you assume something to be true, it begins to take form. The world you experience is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state. What you hold within, what you accept as real, what you persist in believing, these are the forces that shape your external reality. If you want to receive something big from the universe, you must first make space for it within yourself. You must act as if it is already yours, as if it has already been given, as if the entire universe has conspired in your favor and is simply waiting for you to step into the version of yourself that has already received it. The greatest block to manifestation is the insistence on waiting for external proof before believing. Many people look at their present circumstances and assume they must remain bound by them. They measure their future by their past. They allow their current reality to dictate what they believe is possible. But creation does not work that way. The outer world is always a reflection of an inner state that was assumed long ago. If you want to see change, you must first change within. You must begin to operate from the knowing that what you desire is already here, already unfolding, already a certainty. The moment you do this, reality begins to shift. Imagine for a moment that what you desire is already yours. Not that it might come, not that it is on its way, but that it is here now. How would you feel? How would you think? How would you move through the world? This feeling, this state of being is the key. It is not enough to hope or wish or pray. You must embody the certainty of having already received. You must act as if, think as if, believe as if. And in doing so, you align yourself with the reality where your desire already exists. Most people misunderstand what it means to act as if. It is not about pretending in a shallow or forced way. It is not about making empty affirmations while still holding doubt. Acting as if means fully stepping into the feeling of your desire fulfilled. It means changing your thoughts, your emotions, your posture, your decisions, your entire way of being to reflect the truth that what you seek is already yours. When you do this consistently, the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your new state. There is a subtle yet powerful difference between wanting and knowing. When you want something, you are affirming that you do not have it. You are placing yourself in a state of lack. And as long as you remain in this state, you cannot receive. But when you shift into knowing, into already having, you change everything. You become magnetic to the very thing you once sought. You no longer operate from desperation, but from a quiet assurance that the universe is simply aligning itself to deliver what you have already accepted as yours. There is no such thing as luck or chance. Every event in your life is the direct result of a state you have assumed, whether consciously or unconsciously. Most people move through life unaware of this power, unaware that they are always creating, always shaping, always bringing into form whatever they hold most dominantly in their minds. They react to the world rather than realizing they are the ones directing it. They allow circumstances to dictate their beliefs rather than understanding that their beliefs dictate circumstances. If you want to receive something big from the universe, you must take full responsibility for your creative power. You must no longer see yourself as a passive observer, but as the architect of your reality. There is a great shift that happens when you begin to live from this understanding. You stop chasing, you stop longing, you stop grasping for what you want. Instead, you rest in the knowing that it is already done. You move through life with confidence, with ease, with a deep sense of peace, because you know that what you have claimed is inevitable. And in this state, things begin to unfold effortlessly. Doors open where there were once walls. Opportunities arise where none seemed possible. People and circumstances align in ways you could never have planned. This is the power of assumption. It is not about forcing things to happen. It is about stepping into the version of yourself that already has what you seek and allowing reality to catch up. Many people struggle with this because they are accustomed to looking outside of themselves for validation. They want to see evidence before they believe, but this is backwards. The evidence will never appear until you first assume it is already there. You must believe in the unseen, trust in the invisible, know that what you desire is already set into motion the moment you claim it within yourself. And if you can hold this belief unwaveringly, if you can remain firm in your assumption even when the physical world has not yet caught up, you will watch as reality bends to match your inner state. The universe is not withholding anything from you. There is no force outside of you deciding whether or not you are worthy. The only thing that determines what you receive is your ability to assume it is already yours. If you can make this shift, if you can step fully into the state of already having, already receiving, already living in the reality where your desire is fulfilled, you will find that the universe moves in ways beyond your comprehension to bring it into your experience. There is no effort in this, no struggle. It is not about trying harder or doing more. It is about being. It is about shifting into the version of yourself that already possesses what you seek, and once you do, the outer world must conform. It has no choice. It is law. The question is not whether the universe will deliver. It always does. The only question is whether you will allow yourself to receive it by stepping into the state of already having. The greatest secret is that everything you desire is already here. You do not need to create it. You need only align with it. The moment you assume it is yours, it is. The moment you step into the state of already having, the universe begins to reflect that back to you. There is no need to wait, no need to doubt, no need to question. Assume it, live it, be it, and watch as reality reshapes itself to match what you have already accepted as true. There is a secret known to those who live in the fullness of life. A secret so simple yet so profound that it shapes the entire course of one's destiny. It is the understanding that what you assume to be true becomes your reality. When you act as if everything always works out for you, the world bends to match your assumption. There is no force outside of you dictating your fate. The only power shaping your life is the belief you carry within. If you assume that things must be difficult, that life is a struggle, you will see evidence of this everywhere. But if you assume that everything unfolds in your favor, that all things conspire for your good, then this becomes your experience. Think of a time when you just knew something would go your way. There was no doubt, no hesitation, only certainty. And in that certainty, events aligned, opportunities appeared, and what you desired became real. This is not coincidence, it is law. The key is not in waiting for external proof. but in walking as though the proof is already here. If you desire success, carry yourself as one who is already successful. If you long for love, feel now the warmth of being cherished. If you seek abundance, move through life as if wealth is already yours. The world does not respond to wishful thinking, it responds to the conviction of your state of being. Doubt is the only thing that delays the manifestation of your desires. But when you refuse to entertain doubt, when you remain unwavering in the assumption that everything is working in your favor, reality has no choice but to comply. You do not need to know how things will unfold. Your only task is to persist in the assumption that they will. Look at your life now. Every circumstance, every event, every relationship is a reflection of your past assumptions. If you want to change your future, change the way you see yourself now. Assume that all things, even those that seem unfavorable, are leading you to something greater. Assume that no matter what appears before you, the end result is always in your favor. The moment you adopt this mindset, you will notice a shift. Doors that seem closed will open effortlessly. Challenges will resolve themselves in unexpected ways. People and opportunities will appear just when you need them. Life will flow with ease, not because of luck, but because you have chosen to live from the certainty that everything always works out for you. And when you truly believe this, when you no longer waver, you will see the proof unfold before your eyes. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. What you assume to be true becomes the reality you experience. This is not a philosophy of wishful thinking, but a fundamental law of existence. Every belief you hold, whether consciously or unconsciously, is shaping your world at this very moment. The mind is the birthplace of all creation, and it is through assumption that the invisible becomes visible. When you take on the belief that everything always works out for you, life itself begins to mirror this assumption. Imagine waking up each morning with the unshakable conviction that no matter what happens, no matter what challenges arise, all things will ultimately work in your favor. This belief is not dependent on circumstances, nor does it require validation from the outside world. Instead, it is a state of being, a deep inner knowing that the universe is always conspiring to bring about the best possible outcome for you. Most people live in reaction to their environment. They see the world as something separate from themselves, something that happens to them rather than something that responds to them. They observe difficulties and reinforce their struggles by assuming that life is hard, that success is rare, that happiness is fleeting. These assumptions become self-fulfilling prophecies, not because the world is inherently difficult, but because their belief demands it to be so. Now consider the opposite. When you adopt the assumption that everything is always working in your favor, you no longer react to circumstances with fear or doubt. You move with confidence, knowing that even setbacks are simply stepping stones leading to something greater. You do not need to force things into place or struggle against life. Instead, you operate from a state of effortless flow, trusting that events are aligning perfectly, even when you cannot yet see the full picture. This is not about ignoring reality, but understanding that reality is malleable. Everything that exists in your world was first an assumption in someone's mind. The house you live in, the city you walk through, the devices you use, all were once ideas before they took physical form. In the same way, your life experience is shaped by the assumptions you hold about yourself and the world. If you believe that opportunities are scarce, you will see only closed doors. If you believe that success requires endless struggle, your path will be filled with obstacles. But if you assume that life is unfolding in your favor, you will begin to notice opportunities where none seemed to exist before. You will meet the right people at the right time. Situations that once seemed impossible will resolve themselves effortlessly. This is not magic, nor is it luck. It is simply the way the mind interacts with reality. There is no need to concern yourself with how things will unfold. The conscious mind always seeks logic, asking for explanations and step-by-step plans. But the truth is, the how is never your responsibility. Your only task is to assume the state of being you desire and to live from that assumption as if it were already true. When you do this, the unseen forces of life orchestrate the details in ways you could never predict. Think of a time when something unexpectedly worked out in your favor. Perhaps you were in need of help and the right person showed up at the perfect moment. Maybe you were worried about a problem only for it to resolve itself in a way you hadn't anticipated. These moments are not coincidences. They are evidence of the unseen power that is always responding to your dominant beliefs. The more you assume that everything works out for you, the more this truth solidifies in your experience. You will reach a point where you no longer question it. Just as you do not doubt that the sun will rise each morning, you will not doubt that life is always arranging itself in your favor. This certainty creates an inner peace that cannot be shaken by temporary appearances. Even when circumstances seem challenging, you will know that they are simply a bridge to something better. Instead of reacting with frustration or fear, you will trust the process. You will look beyond the immediate moment and recognize that everything is happening for your highest good. This shift in perspective transforms the way you move through life. You no longer operate from a place of lack or desperation, but from a state of quiet confidence, knowing that all is well. Many people wait for evidence before they believe. They wait for success before they feel successful, for love before they feel loved, for security before they feel secure. But the secret is to reverse this process. Assume the feeling first, and the evidence will follow. When you assume that everything always works out for you, you create an energetic alignment with that reality. Your actions, your thoughts, your emotions all begin to reflect this new assumption, and as a result, life reorganizes itself to match. It is important to remain steadfast in your assumption, even when outer circumstances seem to contradict it. If you waver, if you allow doubt to creep in, you delay the manifestation of your desired reality. But if you persist, if you hold to your assumption regardless of appearances, you will see the proof unfold before your eyes. Consider the great innovators, leaders, and visionaries throughout history. They did not wait for proof before they acted. They assumed their vision was possible even when others doubted them. It was their unwavering belief that brought their ideas into reality. In the same way, when you assume that everything always works out for you, you are setting a powerful creative force into motion. This assumption is not just about positive thinking, it is about knowing. It is about embodying the truth that you are the creator of your reality and that life is always responding to your inner state. It is about stepping into the role of the one who determines their fate rather than the one who is subject to fate. At first, this practice may feel unfamiliar, especially if you have spent years reacting to life instead of shaping it. But the more you commit to this assumption, the more natural it will become. You will begin to notice patterns, synchronicities, and effortless manifestations that confirm your belief. With time, you will no longer need to remind yourself that everything is working out. You will simply know it to be true. This is the way life is meant to be lived, not in struggle, not in fear, but in trust. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you shift into alignment with the highest version of yourself. You no longer chase after outcomes or worry about the details. Instead, you move through life with an unshakable faith, knowing that the path before you is always leading to something greater. The world is your reflection. Change your assumption, and you change your life. Assume that everything is always working out for you, and watch as life unfolds in ways more beautiful than you ever imagined. To live from the end is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is not about waiting for external confirmation, nor is it about hoping that things will one day work out. It is about stepping into the state of already having what you desire, embodying that reality in your thoughts, emotions, and actions. This is the secret to effortless creation. When you live from the end, you no longer operate from a place of lack. You no longer question whether your desire will manifest because you already exist in the state of its fulfillment. Most people live in the mindset of wanting. They want success, they want love, they want abundance, but they continue to dwell in the feeling of not having these things. They wake up each day noticing the absence of what they seek, reinforcing the belief that it is out of reach. They say they believe in manifestation, but their actions reveal a different truth. They are waiting for proof before they allow themselves to feel satisfied, fulfilled, or successful. However, the process does not work this way. You cannot wait for life to bring you what you desire before you shift your state of being. The shift must happen within first. When you assume the state of already having what you desire, the world must rearrange itself to reflect this new inner reality. The external world is nothing more than a projection of your inner state. If you walk through life feeling unworthy, struggling, or doubtful, reality will present you with circumstances that confirm these feelings. But if you persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled, reality has no choice but to conform. This is why living from the end is the most powerful way to manifest anything. It removes doubt, eliminates struggle, and allows you to step into a version of yourself that naturally attracts the life you want. There is no forcing, no chasing, no endless waiting. Instead, you become the person who already has what they desire, and life mirrors this state back to you. Imagine someone who desires financial abundance. If they continue to see themselves as struggling, as someone who wants more money, they remain trapped in the reality of lack. Their actions, thoughts, and emotions are all reinforcing the idea that abundance is not yet theirs. But if they were to step into the state of already being financially abundant, everything would change. They would no longer worry about money in the way they once did. They would make decisions from a place of confidence rather than fear. They would carry themselves differently, speak differently, even think differently. And as they persist in this state, their reality would begin to reflect it. Opportunities would arise, circumstances would shift, and abundance would flow effortlessly into their life. The same principle applies to any desire. If you seek love, you must become the person who already has love. You do not wait for someone to appear before you feel loved. You embody that feeling now. If you desire success, you must think and act as the successful version of yourself today. You do not wait until the external world provides evidence. You create the evidence by assuming the state of being first. Some may ask, but how can I act as if I already have something when my current reality shows the opposite? The answer lies in understanding that reality is fluid. What you see now is simply a reflection of past assumptions, past beliefs, past states of being. If you continue to focus on the present circumstances as fixed, you only reinforce them. But when you shift your focus to the reality you desire and live from that place, the outer world begins to shift accordingly. This is not about pretending or faking. It is not about ignoring reality or denying what is. It is about stepping into a deeper understanding of how creation works. The version of you who already has your desire exists in consciousness right now. Your task is to align with that version, to think as they would think, to feel as they would feel, to move through life as they would move. Consider an actor preparing for a role. To bring a character to life, they do not simply read lines. They embody the character fully. They take on their mannerisms, their emotions, their thoughts. They become that character in every way. Similarly, when you desire something in your life, you must become the version of you that already has it. You may wonder, how do I know if I am truly living from the end? The answer is simple. Your emotions will reveal it. When you are fully living from the state of your wish fulfilled, there is no desperation, no anxiety, no frustration. There is only a deep knowing, a quiet confidence that all is well. You no longer feel the need to chase after things or question when they will arrive. You trust the process because you have already accepted your desire as reality. Doubt is the only thing that can disrupt this process. The moment you question whether your manifestation is working, you shift out of the state of fulfillment and back into a state of lack. This is why persistence is key. You must remain in the assumption of already having what you desire, even when the outer world seems unchanged. Many give up too soon because they expect instant results. They plant the seed of assumption, but then dig it up, looking for evidence before it has had a chance to grow. But those who persist, who remain unwavering in their belief, inevitably see their desires take form. If you were to wake up tomorrow and truly believe that your desire was already yours, how would you feel? How would you behave? What thoughts would you entertain? What decisions would you make? These are the questions that guide you into the state of the wish fulfilled. Your work is to live in that state now, not at some future point when the world provides proof. This is the true power of living from the end. It removes all resistance and places you in alignment with the reality you seek. It is not about trying to force things into existence, but about becoming the person who naturally experiences those things. It is about stepping into the consciousness of already having, already being. Reality is never fixed. It is shaped by your assumptions, molded by your state of being. When you live from the end, you are no longer bound by past limitations. You step into a new version of yourself, one that exists in the reality of your fulfilled desires. And as you persist in this state, the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. You are always creating. Every thought, every assumption, every belief is shaping your experience. Choose to live from the end, and you will witness the effortless unfolding of your desires. What you seek is already yours the moment you assume it to be so. Hold firm in that knowing, and life will reveal it to you in ways beyond your imagination. Your imagination is the gateway to all that you desire. It is not just a tool for daydreaming or wishful thinking, it is the very foundation upon which reality is built. Everything you experience in life, every event, every person, every circumstance is a direct reflection of your inner world. When you begin to understand this, you no longer see imagination as something separate from reality, but as the cause of it. The world you live in is nothing more than a projection of what you persistently hold in mind. Most people do not realize the power of their imagination because they have been conditioned to believe that what they see in the external world is more real than what they create within. They live by their five senses, allowing their current circumstances to dictate what they believe is possible. They look at their bank accounts, their relationships, their careers, and conclude that this is their reality, fixed and unchangeable. But this is not how creation works. What you see now is only the result of past assumptions. If you continue to react to what is, you will only create more of the same. If, however, you begin to deliberately use your imagination to see beyond your current reality, you open the door to infinite possibilities. Every great achievement, every innovation, every breakthrough in human history began in the imagination of someone who refused to accept things as they were. They saw something greater, something unseen, and they held on to that vision until it became their reality. This same power is within you. You do not need the world to confirm it for you before you believe in it. Your imagination is the only proof you need. If you wish to change your life, begin by changing what you entertain in your imagination. Instead of replaying memories of failure, rejection, and struggle, begin to imagine yourself as the person who already has what they desire, feeling the emotions of already being there. Do not simply see it as something distant. Step into it, live in it mentally, and persist in that state. Some may argue that imagination is not real, that it is merely fantasy. But what is reality other than what you persistently believe to be true? A person who constantly imagines failure will inevitably experience failure. A person who imagines themselves unloved will continue to see evidence of loneliness. On the other hand, a person who imagines success, joy, and abundance will draw those experiences into their life effortlessly. Your imagination is not separate from reality. It is the blueprint from which reality is formed. Consider someone who desires financial abundance. If they continue to imagine themselves struggling, worrying about bills, and feeling anxious about money, they will remain in that state. Even if they come into money, they will find a way to lose it because their dominant assumption is lack. But if they begin to see themselves as already abundant, if they imagine wealth flowing to them easily, if they feel the relief and joy of financial security, their external world must eventually conform to that assumption. This principle applies to every area of life. If you desire love, imagine yourself already being deeply loved. Feel the warmth of that connection, the joy of companionship. If you desire success, imagine yourself already thriving, already achieving. Step into the role of the successful version of yourself now. The more vividly and consistently you hold these images in your mind, the more quickly they will take shape in your reality. Doubt is the only thing that can block this process. The moment you question whether your imagination is working, you begin to undo its effects. Many people sabotage their manifestations by entertaining contradictory thoughts. They imagine success for a moment, but then allow fear and doubt to creep in. They look at their current circumstances and begin to worry, undoing the work they have done in their imagination. But those who persist in their assumptions, who refuse to accept anything less than their ideal, will inevitably see their desires materialize. One of the simplest ways to harness the power of imagination is through the practice of mental rehearsal. Each night before you sleep, enter a relaxed state and begin to imagine yourself already living your desired reality. Make the scene as vivid as possible. See the details, hear the sounds, feel the emotions. If you desire a new home, imagine yourself walking through it, touching the walls, feeling the comfort of the space. If you desire a fulfilling relationship, imagine conversations with your ideal partner. Feel the love and connection. Whatever you desire, assume that it is already yours and dwell in that state until it feels natural. Sleep is a powerful tool in this process because the moments before sleep are when your subconscious mind is most receptive to new impressions. Whatever you impress upon it, in that state will begin to take root and shape your waking reality. Instead of falling asleep worrying or replaying the events of the day, use this time to imagine the life you wish to create. Persist in this practice and you will soon find that your external world begins to shift in ways you never thought possible. Some may wonder, how long does it take for imagination to become reality? The answer is simple. It takes as long as you allow doubt to interfere. The moment you fully accept your desire as already fulfilled in imagination, the process is set in motion. The only thing that delays it is your wavering belief. If you persist, if you remain steadfast in your assumption, your desire will appear in ways you could never predict. Many people give up too soon because they are looking for immediate results. They plant the seed in imagination but then dig it up by questioning when it will happen. But those who truly understand this principle know that once a desire has been accepted in imagination, it is only a matter of time before it manifests. They do not need to force anything or chase after results. They live in the feeling of already having, knowing that the world must conform to their assumption. The greatest mistake one can make is to believe that imagination is separate from reality. It is not. It is the source of all reality. Everything you see around you first existed in someone's imagination before it became physical. The chair you sit on, the device you are reading this on, the clothes you wear, all were once thoughts in someone's mind. If others can use their imagination to bring their visions to life, so can you. Your imagination is your divine gift, your direct connection to infinite possibilities. There is nothing you cannot create if you persist in the assumption of already having it. The only limits are the ones you place upon yourself. Begin now to use your imagination deliberately. See yourself as the person you wish to be. Live in that state mentally, and reality will shape itself to match. Your imagination is not a place of escape. It is the very substance of creation. Use it wisely, and you will discover that you are the master of your own reality. The world will reflect back to you whatever you hold persistently in mind. Choose to see yourself as already fulfilled, already abundant, already successful, and life will mirror that back to you in ways beyond your wildest dreams. The world around you is a mirror reflecting back to you the contents of your own consciousness. What you assume to be true, what you deeply believe in your heart and persistently entertain in your mind will inevitably show itself in your external world. There is no separation between what you hold internally. Imagination is not a fleeting fantasy or idle daydream. It is the very substance of reality itself. Every experience you've ever lived began first as an unseen image, a silent assumption, a quiet feeling within you. The outer world, as solid and convincing as it may appear, is nothing more than a shadow cast by the inner world. What you accept as true in imagination, what you feel with persistence and conviction, must outpicture itself in form. There is no other creative power. When you imagine something vividly and fuse it with the feeling of already having it, you are not just wishing, you are creating. You are selecting a reality from the infinite possibilities available to you. The unseen is more real than the seen, for it is from the unseen that the seen arises. Everything you desire already exists in the invisible realm of potentiality, and it is your imagination that gives it shape and direction. You don't imagine to attract something, you imagine to become it. The moment you feel yourself to be the thing desired, you shift your identity. And in doing so, the world must shift around you to reflect that new state of being. It has no choice. Reality is obedient. It follows the instructions of your dominant state of consciousness. This is why casual imagining yields casual results, while sustained, intentional imagining moves mountains. It is not about trying harder. It is about assuming more deeply. You are not separate from your creation. You and your creation are one. The moment you feel it to be true, without resistance or doubt, you breathe life into it, and what you give life to in imagination must eventually take form in the world. You may not see immediate results, but that's irrelevant. Delay is not denial. It is simply the time required for the physical to mirror what is already true in the invisible. Persist, not with effort, but with stillness. Revisit the scene of the wish fulfilled, not out of need, but out of joy. You return to it because it is home, because in that inner reality you are already the person you long to be. And once you have fully claimed that inner state, the outer must yield. It is law. Time, as we experience it, is not an absolute truth. It is a construct of the mind, a method we use to measure change and sequence events. But in the realm of true creation, time has no authority. The only moment that ever truly exists is now. Past and future are simply projections of consciousness, memories imagined backward and desires imagined forward. They hold no power unless we invest them with our attention. When you imagine a desire and feel it as real in the present, you are collapsing time. You are pulling a future possibility into your current awareness and making it alive within you. The mind may say it will take weeks, months, or even years for it to appear, but that is only because we've been conditioned to believe in cause and effect, in delays, in waiting. The truth is, what you accept and embody now must externalize itself now. But your now is not measured by clocks. It is measured by states of consciousness. Your assumption, your state is timeless. The version of you who has the desire fulfilled already exists. In the vast field of infinite realities, that self is as real as the one you see in the mirror. When you feel yourself to be that version, when you think from that place rather than toward it, you bridge the illusion of time. You are not moving toward your desire is moving through you. Time becomes irrelevant in this process. It is not about waiting for the right moment to arrive. It is about becoming the right moment. The outer world is slow to catch up, not because it is unwilling, but because it is obedient to your inner rhythm. If you believe it takes time, it will. If you believe it is done, it is. Nothing is truly postponed except by your own hesitation to accept it now. When you stop measuring your progress by days or dates, and begin measuring it by how deeply you are living in the state of the wish fulfilled, time dissolves. You are no longer trapped in the ticking of the clock. You are free in the eternal now, where all things are possible and already complete. Relaxation is not laziness, nor is it passivity. It is the highest form of inner certainty. It is the quiet declaration that all is well, even when the outer world has not yet changed. When you relax, truly relax, you are announcing to the universe that you trust the process, that you know your desire is already fulfilled. This kind of stillness is not weakness, it is faith in motion. Faith is not noisy, it doesn't beg, plead, or panic. It does not look around for proof or ask when or how. Faith is calm, it rests in the knowing. It carries the quiet confidence that what has been imagined and felt has already taken root in the unseen and is now on its way into form. And because this is known, there is no need to struggle. There is no need to force the flower to bloom before its time. When you try to control every step, when you micromanage the manifestation, you are signaling doubt. You are saying, I don't really believe it's mine. But when you can release the need to check, to fix, to hustle, you are in the purest state of allowance. You are saying, I have assumed it, and I trust it to unfold. That trust, that soft stillness, is the fertile soil where your assumption grows. Relaxation opens the door for the unseen forces to move. It removes resistance, silences the mental noise, and brings you back into alignment with your inner reality. When you are relaxed, your energy is coherent, your focus is clear, and your imagination is undisturbed by fear or doubt. You become magnetic, not because you're trying, but because you're being. In relaxation, your heart is steady, your thoughts are soft, and your feeling is pure. It's not about doing more, it's about doing less with more awareness. Less worry, more presence. Less asking, more receiving. The one who truly believes does not run after the dream. They sit in peace, knowing it is already done. Faith doesn't need fireworks. It needs stillness. And in that stillness, you begin to feel the subtle shift, the deep inner confidence that your world is already changing. Without proof, without evidence, only the gentle power of your relaxed certainty guiding everything into place. To live from the end means to mentally and emotionally reside in the state where your desire is already fulfilled. It is the act of assuming the identity of the version of you who already has, already is, already knows. This is not a game of pretending or hoping. It is a deep inner conviction that the thing you want is already yours, and you are simply expressing from that truth. And you live towards your desire, you constantly place it in the future, always slightly out of reach. You become the seeker rather than the one who has found. You send a message to your subconscious that the thing is not yet yours, and so it must continue to be delayed. But when you live from the end, you reverse this relationship. You become the embodiment of the fulfilled desire now, and the outer world adjusts accordingly. Thinking from the end means thinking the thoughts you would think if it were already true, feeling the emotions you would feel if it were already done, and acting in subtle alignment with that version of reality. You do not wait to see it before you believe it. You believe it, and then you begin to see it. You respond to the world not as the one who is waiting, but as the one who has already received. This shift in identity is the key. If you want love, you must become the loved. If you want success, you must feel successful within. If you want freedom, you must embody the feeling of freedom, even if nothing around you has changed. The outer is not the cause, it is the result. It is the echo of your inner state. Living from the end also means dropping the need to constantly ask, affirm, or visualize from a place of lack. You don't beg for something you already have. You don't obsess over something that's already yours. You relax into it, live inside of it, breathe it. And as you do, your inner world becomes so saturated with the feeling of the wish fulfilled that the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. It may seem subtle, but the shift is powerful. You are no longer chasing, you are being. And in being, you call forth the circumstances, people, and events that match your state, not by force, but by resonance. Reality bends to meet the inner assumption because it is always a mirror, never the source. When you live from the end, you no longer ask, when will it come? Instead, you begin to say, of course, it's here. And that knowing changes everything. And the moment you accept this truth, you gain complete authority over your life. For you realize that circumstances are not random, but rather the result of your dominant thoughts and assumptions. Many believe they are at the mercy of life, that events happen to them and that they must react accordingly. They see themselves as victims of chance, subject to forces beyond their control. But this is only because they are unaware of the law that governs reality. They do not realize that everything they experience is an outpicturing of their internal state. If they persist in seeing the world as a place of struggle, they will continue to encounter obstacles. If they hold on to the belief that people cannot be trusted, they will attract experiences that confirm that assumption. If they see themselves as unworthy, they will find that life consistently reinforces that feeling. To change what appears in your world, you must first change what you hold within. The outer world is not separate from you, it is a direct projection of your mind. If you wish to experience abundance, you must first accept abundance as a reality in your imagination. If you desire love, you must first feel loved within yourself. If you wish to see kindness and generosity in the world, you must first embody those qualities internally. You cannot escape this law, for it operates with absolute precision whether you are aware of it or not. Most people attempt to change their external circumstances while leaving their internal state unchanged. They struggle, they fight, they chase after things, believing that through effort alone they can reshape their reality. But they are only addressing effects, not causes. The true cause of all experiences lies within the unseen realm of assumption. To change the effect, one must first change the assumption that created it. If you desire financial prosperity, but your dominant assumption is lack, no amount of hard work or external effort will bring lasting wealth. You may temporarily earn more money, but your inner state will always find a way to return you to the assumption you hold. This is why some people win large sums of money, only to lose it all within a short time. Their inner world has not shifted to align with abundance. They still hold the belief of financial struggle, and so their reality must conform to that belief. If instead they were to assume themselves to be financially secure, if they were to persist in that assumption, regardless of what their bank account currently shows, their external world would inevitably transform to match that new inner state. This is true in relationships as well. A person who sees themselves as unlovable will find that no matter how many relationships they enter, the experience of rejection or disappointment follows them. They will find evidence everywhere that supports their assumption, because reality must always reflect what is held within. But the moment they begin to assume that they are deeply loved, the moment they truly feel within themselves that love is their natural state, their world will rearrange itself to mirror that belief. They will attract loving people, harmonious relationships, and experiences that confirm their new assumption. There is no limit to what can be changed when one understands this principle. The world is not something to be fought against, resisted, or controlled. It is something to be understood. Once you grasp that everything you see is a reflection of your state of mind, you will stop trying to force the external world into submission and instead focus on mastering your inner world. Some may wonder, if my reality is a reflection of my assumptions, why do things sometimes appear to contradict what I desire? The answer is that most people are unaware of the assumptions they are holding. They may say they desire success, but deep down they feel unworthy of it. They may wish for love, but internally they expect disappointment. They may affirm prosperity, but they are consumed by fear of loss. It is not the words you speak or the actions you take that determine your reality. It is the deep-seated beliefs you hold within. If you are not experiencing what you desire, examine what you truly assume to be true. Ask yourself, what do I consistently expect from life? What do I assume about myself and others? The answers to these questions will reveal the cause of your current reality. If you find that your assumptions do not align with what you desire, do not despair. The moment you become aware of them, you have the power to change them. One of the simplest ways to change an assumption is through imagination. Each day, take time to dwell in the feeling of your desired state. If you wish to experience success, imagine yourself already successful. Feel the satisfaction, the joy, the confidence. If you wish for better health, see yourself as vibrant and strong. Feel the energy and vitality. If you desire fulfilling relationships, imagine yourself surrounded by love and harmony. Let these feelings become familiar to you. As you persist in these new assumptions, you will begin to notice small shifts in your reality. Things that once seemed difficult will become effortless. People who once treated you a certain way will change in response to your new state. Opportunities will appear seemingly out of nowhere. But these changes are not random. They are the natural outpicturing of your internal world. A person who embodies this truth moves through life differently. They do not react to every challenge with fear or doubt. Instead, they maintain their inner certainty, knowing that even apparent setbacks are simply part of the unfolding of their assumption. They do not see obstacles as failures, but as temporary illusions that will pass. Because of this, they do not resist life, they flow with it. They trust the process, knowing that as long as they hold the assumption that everything works out, it must come to pass. This state of being affects not only opportunities and external circumstances, but also how others perceive and interact with you. When you walk with confidence, when you radiate the energy of someone who knows things always work out, people respond to you differently. They see you as someone to be trusted, respected, and followed. They pick up on your certainty and reflect it back to you. Doors open effortlessly, support appears, and synchronicities align to reinforce your belief. Many people live in a state of reaction, allowing their moods and expectations to be dictated by what is happening around them. But those who truly understand the nature of reality do the opposite. They decide how they want to feel, how they want to be treated, and what they want to experience. And then they assume that state before any external evidence appears. The external world then follows suit. If you begin today to act as if everything always works out for you, you will start to see small shifts almost immediately. The way people respond to you will change, new opportunities will emerge, things that once seemed difficult will become easier, and as these small shifts occur, they will reinforce your assumption, making it even stronger. The key is to remain consistent. Do not allow temporary appearances to shake your belief. If a challenge arises, instead of reacting with fear or frustration, remind yourself, this is working out for me. Even if you do not yet see how, trust that it is. The moment you assume that even difficulties are serving you, they will begin to do so. What once seemed like a setback will reveal itself to be a necessary step in your path. This way of living does not mean you will never face difficulties, but it does mean that you will move through them with a sense of ease, knowing that nothing can truly be against you. Every challenge is an opportunity. Every delay is part of the perfect timing. And every situation is unfolding for your highest good. As you persist in this assumption, you will find that life begins to feel effortless. Things will fall into place with surprising ease. What once required struggle will happen naturally. The sense of anxiety that once accompanied uncertainty will dissolve, replaced by a quiet confidence that all is well. The shift begins within. The moment you decide that things always work out for you, they do. The world is a mirror, and it must reflect your new assumption. When you hold this belief unwaveringly, nothing can stand in your way. The reality you experience is the one you assume to be true. Assume the best, and the best will unfold before you. Everything in this world is a reflection of what you assume to be true. Your life moves according to the beliefs you hold within yourself. If you desire success, you must first assume that it is already yours. Not in the distant future, not as a possibility, but as an absolute fact. The moment you accept this truth, reality begins to shift in your favor. You do not wait for success to come, you step into it now, fully and completely as if it were already here. Your imagination is the key to everything. What you imagine and believe to be true with feeling will crystallize into form. The world does not bring you what you want. It brings you who you are. If you see yourself as successful, if you walk as if everything you touch turns into gold, if you feel the certainty of your own achievement, the world has no choice but to conform. It must. That is the law. Doubt is the only thing that can keep you from experiencing what is rightfully yours. If you waver, if you look to the outside world for confirmation, you delay the process. Success is not something to be chased, it is something to be embodied. You must think from it, not of it. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled so completely that it becomes second nature. No effort, no struggle. Just the quiet, unwavering knowing that what you have imagined is real. Your senses may try to deceive you. They will show you things that contradict your vision. But this is where most people fail, because they believe what they see rather than what they know within. You must hold steady. Ignore the evidence of the senses when it does not align with your vision. Reality bends to the one who is bold enough to claim what is already theirs. Live today as the person who already has everything they desire. Speak as that person, walk as that person, breathe as that person. Success is not coming. It is already here, waiting for you to recognize it. The foundation of all achievement lies in the assumption that success is already yours. Before anything can manifest in the external world, it must first be accepted as true in your inner world. The mind is the creative force behind all experiences, shaping reality according to the beliefs you hold. If you desire success, you must first claim it within yourself, not as a distant possibility, but as an absolute certainty. It is not about hoping or wishing, it is about knowing. The moment you fully accept that success is inevitable, your actions, thoughts, and emotions naturally align with that reality, making it unfold effortlessly in your external world. Many people live in a state of waiting, believing that success is something that happens to them only when external conditions are favorable. They look for signs, opportunities, or circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel successful. But this is the greatest mistake. Success does not come as a result of waiting. It is drawn to those who confidently assume it is already theirs. The key is to shift from a mindset of one day to a mindset of now, right in this moment. Regardless of what your circumstances may appear to be, you must declare that you are already successful. Not as an act of pretending, but as an inner knowing so firm that nothing can shake it. This is why it is crucial to act as if success is already yours, not in a superficial way, but in a way that changes your inner state. Feel what it would be like to have already achieved your goals. What does success feel like in your body? What emotions rise up when you think about having everything you desire? How does the world look to you when you have already won? The key is to dwell in that feeling as much as possible. The more you immerse yourself in this state, the faster your reality begins to reflect it. You must live from the end result, from the position of someone who has already arrived. When you fully assume success, you naturally begin to think, speak, and act in alignment with that belief. You no longer second-guess yourself or hesitate, because you are already the person you wish to become. Your actions come from confidence rather than fear. Your decisions become clear, your energy becomes magnetic, and opportunities begin to show up effortlessly. People who believe in their own success carry themselves differently. There is no desperation in their energy, no doubt in their mind. They move with certainty, knowing that life will adjust itself to meet their expectations. Doubt is the only thing that can keep you from fully stepping into this truth. The moment you allow uncertainty to creep in, you begin to delay your own manifestation. The external world may not immediately reflect your new assumption, but that is irrelevant. Your job is to remain faithful to your vision regardless of what your senses tell you. The physical world is only a mirror of past beliefs and assumptions. It takes time to catch up with the new reality you have chosen. Just as a seed planted in the ground does not instantly sprout, your assumption of success needs time to solidify into form. But if you persist, if you refuse to entertain doubt, success must appear. It is law. It is important to detach from the how and focus entirely on the what. Many people block their success by constantly worrying about how it will happen. They analyze, overthink, and doubt whether the right opportunity will show up. But the path to success is not your concern. Your only task is to assume that it is already done. The universe arranges the details in ways you could never predict. The right people, the right circumstances, the right timing, all of it falls into place effortlessly when you remain unwavering in your assumption. Imagine for a moment that you are already living the life you desire. Close your eyes and step into that version of yourself. How do you carry yourself? How do you speak? How do you interact with the world? Embody that version of yourself now and watch how the world begins to shift in response. Every great success story begins with someone who first saw themselves as victorious before anyone else could see it. They did not wait for external validation, they claimed it within, and the world had no choice but to catch up. Everything you seek is already within you. The only thing required is for you to claim it boldly and unapologetically. When you assume success as your present reality, nothing can stand in your way. Your imagination is the most powerful force in your life. It is the creator of everything you experience, the invisible architect shaping your reality at every moment. Whatever you accept in your imagination as true, with feeling and conviction must become your external reality. The world does not bring you what you want, it brings you what you are conscious of being. This is why success is not about hard work, luck, or waiting for the right time. It is about knowing that what you seek is already yours and feeling it as real within you before it appears. Everything in existence first began as an idea in someone's imagination. The buildings you see, the technology you use, the books you read, all of them started as unseen images in the mind of their creators. They became real because someone dared to believe in their vision and refused to accept the limits of their current reality. The same is true for you. What you consistently imagine with conviction will externalize itself in your world. This is not wishful thinking. It is a law as precise as gravity. The challenge is not whether this principle works, but whether you will consciously direct it towards success. The mistake most people make is allowing their imagination to be controlled by their present circumstances. They see lack, failure, and obstacles, and instead of using their inner power to imagine something greater, they continue to dwell on what already exists. But reality is fluid, always responding to your dominant thoughts and feelings. The more you focus on limitations, the more they persist. If you constantly imagine yourself struggling, being overlooked or failing, that is exactly what will continue to manifest. But if you deliberately choose to see yourself as already successful, already abundant, already confident, then the world must shift to reflect that new assumption. The key is to think from success rather than about success. Most people think about their goals as something far away, something they hope to reach someday. But this keeps success in the future always just out of reach. The secret is to move beyond hope and fully embody the feeling of already being the person you desire to be. Imagine that your goal has already been accomplished. How does it feel? What does your life look like now that you have achieved it? What thoughts run through your mind? What emotions fill your heart? Immerse yourself in this reality so completely that it feels more real than your current circumstances. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It accepts whatever you impress upon it with feeling. If you continuously see yourself as a failure, your subconscious will take that as a command and shape your experiences accordingly. But if you persistently hold the image of success, if you make it so clear and so definite that it feels like the only truth, then it must external. The subconscious mind is like fertile soil. It does not question the seed you plant, it simply grows whatever you repeatedly impress upon it. This is why imagination is more important than effort alone. Effort without the right mental picture only reinforces struggle. But effort combined with a clear and unwavering vision of success becomes unstoppable. Doubt and fear are the only barriers that keep you from realizing this power. When you allow fear to take hold, you begin to imagine failure rather than success. You start to see obstacles rather than opportunities. But these are only mental illusions, shadows cast by old beliefs that no longer serve you. If you catch yourself falling into doubt, shift immediately back to your vision. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and return to the feeling of your wish already fulfilled. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, success will feel so real within you that you will no longer question it. And once that happens, it must appear in your world. The most powerful creators in history have always understood this principle, whether they knew it consciously or not. The great inventors, the leaders, the visionaries, all of them held a vision in their mind that seemed impossible at first. They refused to be swayed by temporary appearances. They saw beyond what existed and focused only on what could be. This unwavering faith in their vision is what brought it to life. They lived as if their success was inevitable, and because of this, it became so. The same law applies to you. Do not let appearances deceive you. Your current reality is simply the result of past imaginations, nothing more. If you do not like what you see, change it by changing the images you hold in your mind. The world will conform to the new blueprint you create. Train yourself to imagine only what you desire, to feel it so deeply that it becomes a part of you. The more you do this, the more natural it will feel, and the more effortlessly success will manifest in your life. Your imagination is the key to everything. It is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Master it, and you master your destiny. Your actions, thoughts, and emotions must align with the belief that success is already yours. Everything in life is energy, and the way you carry yourself reflects the state of mind you hold. When you assume success as your present reality, your behavior changes automatically. You speak differently, walk differently, and make decisions with confidence. You no longer hesitate or doubt yourself because deep within you know that everything is already unfolding in your favor. It is not about pretending. It is about embodying the reality you have chosen for yourself. Most people wait for external validation before they allow themselves to feel successful. They want to see results first, and only then will they believe. But this is backward thinking. The external world is a reflection of your internal world, not the other way around. If you continue to act from a place of doubt, hesitation, or lack, you will continue to attract experiences that match that frequency. But if you act as if your success is already guaranteed, then life must adjust to reflect that assumption. Consider the difference between someone who knows they are successful and someone who is merely hoping for success. The one who knows moves with certainty. They are not concerned with how things will unfold because they trust that the right doors will open. Their presence commands respect, their words carry authority, and their energy is magnetic. Opportunities naturally flow to them because they are already aligned with the reality of success. On the other hand, the person who merely hopes often hesitates. They question their worth, second-guess their choices, and wait for proof before they fully commit. But waiting only delays the manifestation of success. To live in the state of success now, you must begin by shifting your identity. Who would you be if you had already achieved everything you desired? How would you think? How would you speak? How would you carry yourself? The key is to step into that version of yourself today, not when the external conditions change, but now. Success is not something you chase, it is something you become. And when you become it, the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. Your thoughts must also align with this reality. Every moment you are either affirming your success or reinforcing old doubts. If your inner dialogue is filled with uncertainty, you are telling your subconscious mind that success is not yet yours. But if you consistently hold thoughts of confidence, knowing that your subconscious mind must accept that as truth, the more you focus on this new reality, the more natural it becomes. You will notice that your self-doubt fades, your decisions become clearer, and you begin to attract circumstances that match your new mindset. Emotions play an equally important role. If you act as if success is already yours, but feel anxious, desperate, or doubtful, then you are not truly embodying that reality. Your emotions must align with the feeling of already having what you desire. Take a moment to imagine your success. How does it feel? Relief, joy, gratitude, excitement. Whatever the emotion, allow yourself to fully experience it now. The more you dwell in that emotional state, the faster your external world will rearrange itself to match. The reason this works is simple. Life is always responding to the energy you project. If you act with confidence, think with certainty, and feel the joy of success, then your reality must shift accordingly. But if you act with hesitation, think with doubt, and feel the frustration of not yet having what you desire, then you will continue to create those same experiences. Many people sabotage themselves because they allow external circumstances to dictate their inner state. They let setbacks shake their belief, and they react to temporary appearances instead of staying faithful to their vision. But circumstances are only echoes of past thoughts. They have no real power unless you give it to them. No matter what is happening around you, your job is to remain unwavering in your assumption of success. Act, think, and feel as if it is already done, and soon it will be. Even in the face of challenges, you must continue to embody your success. The people who achieve great things are not those who never face obstacles, but those who refuse to let obstacles define them. They remain steadfast in their belief, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. They see setbacks as temporary illusions, mere stepping stones leading them to greater success. The secret is consistency. It is not enough to act, think, and feel like a success for a single moment. You must remain in that state consistently. Every time doubt arises, return to your assumption. Every time fear creeps in, reaffirm your certainty. The more you do this, the stronger your belief becomes, until eventually it is unshakable. When you fully align your actions, thoughts, and emotions with the assumption of success, you no longer chase success, it chases you. The right opportunities appear effortlessly. The right people are drawn to you. Life begins to unfold in miraculous ways, and when that happens, you will realize that success was never something outside of you, it was always within you, waiting for you to claim it. The world around you is not separate from you, it is a reflection of your inner state. Every experience, every event, and every encounter is the outpicturing of your dominant assumptions and beliefs. If you truly believe that success is on its way, life will confirm this belief. If you doubt, hesitate, or second-guess yourself, life will reflect those uncertainties. The key is to persist in the assumption that success is inevitable, that it is unfolding perfectly, and that nothing can stand in the way of what is already yours. Many people do not realize that their reality is fluid, shaped moment by the consciousness they hold. They look at their current conditions and assume they are fixed, but this is an illusion. Reality does not create consciousness. Consciousness creates reality. If you wake up every day expecting success, feeling it, knowing it, then the world will begin to shift in response. Doors will open where there were once walls. People will appear who align with your vision. Ideas will flow effortlessly. It is not a matter of if, but when. Because success is already yours the moment you claim it in your consciousness. Most individuals live by reaction, allowing circumstances to dictate their beliefs. They see temporary setbacks as signs of failure, when in truth they are simply the rearrangement of events leading to something greater. When you persist in the assumption that success is inevitable, you do not waver when things appear to go wrong. You do not let delays discourage you or obstacles define you. You remain unwavering, knowing that the unseen forces of life are always working on your behalf, aligning everything in perfect order. Faith is not hoping, it is knowing. It is the unwavering certainty that what you have imagined is already accomplished, even before it becomes visible. The greatest mistake people make is assuming that reality must change first before they can feel successful. But the opposite is true. You must first feel it, claim it, embody it, and only then will it materialize. Success is not about waiting for proof. It is about knowing that the proof is already there in unseen form, waiting for the right moment to appear. Your subconscious mind accepts whatever you persistently assume is true. It does not question whether something is logical or possible. It simply takes your dominant feelings and projects them into your reality. If you persist in fear, insecurity, or lack, that is what you will continue to experience. But if you persist in confidence, abundance, and certainty, then success must follow. The only requirement is persistence. No matter what you see in the present, your job is to remain faithful to the vision of your success. The most successful people in history were those who refused to accept present limitations. They persisted in their belief even when the world told them otherwise. They saw opportunities where others saw obstacles. They understood that reality was malleable, shaped by their conviction. Whether it was an inventor creating something the world had never seen or a leader changing the course of history, the common thread was unwavering persistence. They knew that what they envisioned was already real. They were simply waiting for the world to catch up. This same principle applies to you. If you remain steadfast in your assumption, success must unfold in the most effortless way. You do not need to force it, chase it, or struggle for it. The moment you truly believe, the path begins to clear. The right circumstances align. The right people are drawn to you. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Most people fail because they give up too soon. They waver when things do not happen immediately. They allow doubt to creep in, and in doing so, they undo the very progress they were making. The secret is to persist beyond appearances, to hold to the vision no matter what, and to trust that everything is working in your favor even when it is not yet visible. Time is an illusion. What you seek is already done. It is not about waiting. It is about aligning yourself now with the reality you have chosen. Speak as if success is already here. Move through the world with the confidence of someone who has already achieved their goals. Act, think, and feel as if the victory is already won, because in truth, it is. When you persist in your assumption, life cannot help but bend in your favor. Success does not require struggle. It requires faith, conviction, and the refusal to accept anything less than what you have chosen to be true. Hold to your vision, remain unwavering, and watch as the world conforms to your belief. Everything you desire already exists in an unseen reality, waiting for you to claim it. Success is not something you must chase. It is something you must allow. The moment you recognize that your desires are not separate from you, but rather an extension of your consciousness, you begin to understand the true nature of creation. You are not here to struggle for success. You are here to align with it, to embody it, and to let it flow effortlessly into your experience. The reason many people feel stuck is because they believe success is something external, something they must work tirelessly to attain. But this belief only reinforces the idea that success is separate from them, and so they continue to experience struggle. The truth is that success is already yours. It has been yours from the moment you desired it. The only thing standing between you and its manifestation is your ability to remain faithful to that truth, no matter what the external world suggests. When you fully accept that success is already a reality in the unseen, you shift from a state of wanting to a state of knowing. Wanting implies lack, and lack creates resistance, but knowing is powerful. It carries certainty, and certainty moves mountains. When you know that success is inevitable, you do not worry about how it will happen. You do not seek validation from the outside world. You simply live as though it is already done, and by doing so, you make it real. Many people sabotage their success because they focus too much on when and how it will happen. They constantly check for signs, seeking proof before they allow themselves to believe. But this approach keeps them stuck in a cycle of doubt. The moment you look for evidence, you are affirming that it is not yet real. But if you truly believe in the certainty of your success, you do not need evidence. You simply move forward with absolute faith, knowing that it is already unfolding. Success is not something you must force into existence. The more you try to control every detail, the more you create unnecessary resistance. Your only job is to assume the state of success internally and trust that the external world will rearrange itself accordingly. You do not need to worry about every step along the way. Life has an intelligence beyond what the human mind can comprehend. When you align with the feeling of already having what you desire, unseen forces begin working in your favor. Think of the times in your life when things seem to fall into place effortlessly. Perhaps you met the right person at the perfect moment, or an opportunity appeared out of nowhere. These moments were not coincidences, they were manifestations of allowing. Success comes naturally, but when you are in a state of struggle, you block the very thing you seek. The key is to remain open, trusting that everything is unfolding in perfect order. You must also free yourself from the idea that success must look a certain way. Many people limit themselves by being too specific about how their success should arrive. They have a rigid idea of what must happen, and when things do not unfold in that exact way, they become discouraged. But life is infinitely creative. Success can come in ways you never expected. The moment you release attachment to the how and simply focus on the feeling of already having it, you allow the universe to work in ways beyond your imagination. Doubt is the greatest enemy of manifestation. The moment you question whether success will come, you delay its arrival. Every time you entertain thoughts of failure, you reinforce that reality. But the moment you decide with absolute certainty that success is already yours, you set a powerful force into motion. It does not matter what the external world shows, your job is to remain steadfast in your belief. Even when things seem to be going wrong, trust that they are actually moving you forward. Sometimes what appears as a setback is simply a redirection towards something even greater. The people who achieve the most are those who refuse to be discouraged by temporary appearances. They remain firm in their assumption, knowing that everything is working in their favor, even when it is not yet visible. When you fully embrace the idea that success is already yours, you move through life with a sense of ease. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself or fight against obstacles. You carry yourself with confidence, speak with authority, and make decisions from a place of certainty. People respond to this energy. Doors open. Opportunities arise, and life begins to reflect the success you have already claimed internally. Nothing is keeping you from success except your own hesitation. The moment you decide that it is already done, reality has no choice but to conform. The world is simply a mirror. It will always reflect back to you the state of being you hold within. Align yourself with the knowing that success is already yours, and watch as life shifts in response. The journey to success is not about waiting, hoping, or striving endlessly for external validation. It is about realizing that everything you desire already exists in the unseen, waiting for you to claim it. The moment you decide that success is already yours, reality begins to shift. The external world is not separate from you. It is simply a mirror reflecting the state of consciousness you hold within. When you fully embrace this truth, you stop chasing success and start living it. Too often, people believe that success is something that must be earned through struggle, sacrifice, and effort. But this belief only keeps them trapped in a cycle of limitation. The truth is, success is not a reward for hard work. It is the natural outcome of an aligned state of being. The moment you assume the identity of the person who has already achieved what you desire, the world has no choice but to reflect that back to you. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. The greatest mistake people make is allowing doubt to creep in. Every time you question whether success will come, you push it further away. The moment you look for proof before believing, you reinforce the idea that it is not yet real. But success is not something you wait for, it is something you assume, embody, and walk in with absolute certainty. If you knew that your success was already guaranteed, how would you think? How would you act? What decisions would you make? These are the questions that determine whether you align with your desired reality or push it away. You must trust in the unseen. The conscious mind craves proof, but the deeper intelligence within you knows the truth. The subconscious mind does not question. It simply accepts what you impress upon it. When you persist in the feeling of success, regardless of what the outside world suggests, you activate a force greater than logic. This force rearranges people, circumstances, and events to match the assumption you hold. You do not need to control how it happens. You simply need to remain faithful to the reality you have claimed. Some may argue that this is unrealistic, that success requires action. But the truth is, the right actions flow naturally from a place of belief. When you embody success, you act in ways that align with that reality. You make decisions with confidence. You attract opportunities effortlessly. You speak and carry yourself as someone who already knows their success is inevitable. This is not about forcing action. It is about allowing inspired action to arise from the state of being you have chosen. Think of the people you admire, those who seem to attract success effortlessly. They do not chase, they embody. They do not wait for proof, they create it through their unwavering faith. This is the secret. The ones who achieve the most are those who refuse to be discouraged by temporary appearances. They persist in their assumption until the world catches up. Your task is simple. Assume the feeling of already having what you desire and persist in that assumption no matter what. When doubt arises, remind yourself that the unseen is more real than the seen. When circumstances seem to contradict your belief, see them as illusions, temporary reflections of past thoughts that no longer define you. Your only job is to remain firm in your knowing. The moment you truly accept that success is already yours, you free yourself from struggle. You stop looking for signs, stop worrying about timelines, stop needing validation. You step into a new reality where success is not something you hope for, it is something you live. And when you do this, the world bends to your assumption. The people, opportunities, and experiences necessary for your success will appear effortlessly, as if by divine orchestration. Success is not something outside of you. It is not something you must chase, earn, or prove yourself worthy of. It is something you claim by assuming it as already done. The world is a mirror, and it will always reflect back the reality you hold within. Choose now to align with success, to embody the person you wish to become, and watch as life transforms before your eyes.